So if we take a moment to think about treating people with dignity and respect and being neutral and unbiased, right? It requires us to be, careful with our language, right? So if we think about like this in a decision tree, right? So if we think about this officer who stopped me a little bit earlier, right? So he's got his hat that's purple and has a little brim. And of course, this particular cop had the orangey mirrored sunglasses, right? Boom, right? So pulls me over, right? And, so what was like, this interaction, right? Did I have dignity or respect? I mean, I would say not really. I don't know that I felt one particular way that I was treated with dignity, other than he was just very short, quick, and just seemed to have the power thing, right? So we're going to move that in X, right? So, I mean, there wasn't even like a greeting, right? So in one path, right, you lead to no, where he's just like, the business, just giving it straight up, right? Now maybe he had other things to do. He's, had to go do something. I don't fault that person for that. But in this interaction, all I'm focused on is the fact that this person's pulled me over. I don't really care about the officer's day at this point, right? I'm sure it was tough. But in this, I'm being pulled over. I'm annoyed. I'm focused on like this, right? So he's giving me the biz, or he could have been like, started with a nice hello, right? Hello, sir, could also be good because I addressed the officer as sir. At the time you've been like, hello, Mr. Pell, or something like that. Or something. He's like, hey, blah, 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 Now, you do have to seem kind of neutral. This guy seemed a little keyed up. He's like, you here for spade? And seemed like, you'd already made the decision, right? It could have been a little different, like if he was like, hello, sir, came here to stop you today because caught you for speed. I, caught you on my, speed gun. And I could have picked anyone, I guess, technically, but, mine happened to capture you, right? Or some to that effect, right? I'm sure there's like probably legal reasons why, because how do you know it's my car? And, unless they had it on camera, but something to that effect, right? Where we disclose I had it on because of why, right? Why would we do this, right? So he's like, this is, if he had maybe said like, this is a school zone. This is a school zone. A lot of kids are leaving home. You can see, like this neighborhood nearby, a lot of kids walk through here. And even though they're not supposed to, they jaywalk and it becomes kind of dangerous. So we're really enforcing these laws, really to kind of protect kids, right? In that case, I'm like, oh, well, I know that makes sense, right? Even though I know that, having someone tell me that is very different than, got you for speed in a school zone, sir. Right? I'm like, okay. And part of me is like, yeah, do you see any kids? Do you see, is any kind of a problem, right? Friendly or cop over here is going to be like, some of these kids are small, they're younger, it's possible they could run out, you could not see them or not be able to react in time. And, really this is about more for their safety, making sure everyone gets home safely to their parents. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Could have also been, also then he was just like, boom, we're done, ticket issued, go to the Colleyville Keller Joint Courthouse, bye-bye. Or, it could have been like, now, what's your side of things, right? Because my license at the time said Tyler, Texas, which is not, it's just kind of a bigger city, in the area. So I see you're not from around here, like what's going on today? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I just put my grandfather in the nursing home today, and, I'm not familiar with this area. And, I kind of just went on what I saw the posted speed limit was. I didn't see this when I made that turn on XYZ Street, on the QRS Street. And, I did not see that school speeding sign, and I was going with the flow of traffic, right? That, like, I have a chance then. Now, doesn't mean I'm hopeful about it. Of course, I'm hoping I don't want to get a ticket, right? But, in this, like, I have a chance to say, hey, here's what was going through my head. Here's what I was thinking. Here's why I did what I did. And and so on, right? So in this, I had voice, I could speak, and if the officer was like distracted or not looking, he's just like, whatever, doodling. But if the officer's like, okay, I can see that, maybe took off the sunglasses to look me in the face. Shock. Now that would be a shocker in America if someone who is already wearing mirrored glasses during the daytime took them off when interacting with a person, right? Other than like if they're, like ordering food or something like that at a restaurant, like did it in an interaction. That would blow my mind if that ever happened, right? But the point of this here is what, right? So if we followed this decision path here, I'm going to feel better about the interaction. I'm not going to like the ticket, right? If I get issued one, right? Because maybe the officer weighs and considers it's like, look, I decided not to do it. I understand the circumstances. Here's what's going on, right? And so I'd be like, no, that's just an excuse, sir. Get the hell out of here. Like those are very different reactions, right? I'm going to feel better if that person stopped and considered me for a little bit, right? I'm going to feel better if it seemed unbiased, if I wasn't targeted. They explained, why I was in there, pulled over on that side of the road today, right? And with this, for me anyway, I'm going to accept this decision a little bit more than I did from the way that it actually happened, which was like, I thought it was kind of shitty. I'm still bitter about this ticket, even though I should get over it by now. So I'm going to feel better about accepting the decision. And maybe if someone is feeling kind of polite, kind of fair, right, we have the situation, right, where we are maybe feel a little bit better about Keller PD. Maybe I still don't like cops, or maybe I love cops, but maybe I was like, what? Feel a little bit better today. Not as bad. It could have been a lot worse, but you know what? I understand the reasoning for the decision. I understand why this ticket was given to me, and I don't feel like I was, like unfairly targeted or something like that, right? So in this situation then, right, this is pretty low stakes, right? I mean, ultimately, we think about tickets, speeding or running a stoplight or, broken taillight, whatever, kind of low, right? I mean, it's really the only times that this would escalate, right? Like if we think about the ways that this could escalate or, some kind, right, is to, if you escalate by getting me out of the car, getting me out of my car, or if you, or maybe decided to search me, or, if maybe this was, on the street and you decided to stop, question, frisk me, or if there was a disturbance in the home, and you decided to arrest me, or if this is maybe you are trying to find someone related to another crime, right? Now these are all examples. Something from me. These are all examples of police behaviors that are fairly common, right? Really common in the sense like, we know police do them. They don't do this with every person they come across, right? But, like they do happen. And if someone's like asking me to get out of my car, I'm like, why are you wanting me out of my car, right? Like I feel maybe comfortable in here, right? I actually had an uncle who was driving from like Oklahoma to Texas, and he gets pulled over at the state border. And Oklahoma state troopers trying to get him to get out of his car. Why, I don't know, but my uncle refused to get out of the car, and Oklahoma cops like, get out of your car, sir. Like whatever the reasoning was, the version of the story that I heard, it was like the Oklahoma Highway Patrol guy just like wasn't explaining, he just wanted him to get out of his car. Uncle like flips out because he's like, I'm not getting in my car. Texas doesn't do that. I don't feel safe with like anyone else doing it. He made the Texas Highway Patrol officer drive up from Texas into Oklahoma on the border and like talk to my uncle. I'm like, yeah, police can do this. It's okay. What's your concerns? That's so dumb. But what's your concern, sir? And like they had a powwow between the Oklahoma highway trooper, the Texas state trooper. They just let my uncle go because I think they're like, we don't want to deal with this guy anymore. To my uncle's point, right? It's highly unusual to get asked to step out of your vehicle, right? And I can understand. He's like, I'm on a highway, you get hit, I'm in danger. And he also has like a lot of panic and anxiety related issues that make him nervous when he's in situations he can't control. So that is a thing, but it's still kind of funny to me. So, but if someone searched me or wanted to do stop, question, frisk me, or do any kind of stuff, right? I probably want to know where the officer is coming from, why they're making the decisions that they are, and if I have that knowledge, right, I'm going to at least understand where that person is coming from. Now, again, that doesn't mean I have to like being searched, right? I don't like people's hands on my body, right? For me, like I'm one of those people. Sometimes people come up and they just want to hug immediately. Hell no, get out of here. Oh my God, the worst is on first dates where like someone wants to hug you. I'm like, I don't know you. Don't hug me, please. Handshakes are cool, but not during COVID, right? Like, it's a whole different thing, right? But if an officer wants to stop me on the street and they just like put me against a wall, maybe it's part of the department policy for disorder policing and that we're going to be really aggressive on this. If the officer's not explaining why they're stopping me, I'm going to have a problem with that, right? Because it seems a little unfair, a little unright, a little unjustified, right? If there's a disturbance in a home and there's a fight going on and I have to arrest someone, maybe it's a domestic violence thing and there's, signs of injury. If I'm not explaining why a decision was made to arrest or why this is happening or so on, or if it's department policy or law, I'm probably gonna have a problem with the fact that you're arresting my ass, right? Doesn't mean that I like what's happening, right? That the whole thing is part to be clear, right, is that you do not have to like what is happening. But if you are clear, you're treating people with dignity and respect, and if they're neutral and unbiased, if you are listening to people and hear their side of the story, chances are you're probably going to have a better interaction and they're more likely to comply without things getting hostile, out of hand, right? So it's a way of subtly controlling the situation by being nice. You're killing them with kindness, right? Than doing anything else. So we'll pause this video here and we'll kind of wrap things up